Hello there, good evening indeed, and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a great and productive day and a great start to your week. Now, this is what is coming up. The Ministry of Local Government assured MPs that in the next few days, the issue of pending court cases will be resolved. Citizens have expressed concern regarding the delay in permanent driver's license tests following legislation. Once again, a very good evening to you and welcome to the news in details. As we begin this edition of the news, let us inform you that on Monday, President Paul Kagame arrived in Doha, Qatar for the third Qatar Economic Forum. Upon arrival, the head of state was received by Akbar Al-Bakr, the group CEO of Qatar Airways. Also on Monday, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, where he is set to attend the annual Africa Development Bank meeting. And now proceeding, the Ministry of Local Government has assured MPs that in the next few days, the issue of pending court cases will be resolved. Jessica Gasaro with more.
Committee on Political Affairs and Gender have shown to the Minister of Local Government that the problem of pending court cases has been on the rise, something that hinders justice delivery. In the discussion, you should look at it to find the exact reason. If the court cases that were planned were 736 and they are still at 0%, are there any special features or obstacles that prevent the cases from being resolved? Based on the numbers, there is a problem, but I can't tell you that it is like that. It must be connected to the figures that the Ministry of Local Government showed us. And we see that somehow it needs to be connected. And then, also for the problems, they pointed out that these cases showed the reason why they are not yet finished or are delayed in being resolved. The Minister of Local Government, Musabyimana Jean-Claude, declares that in the near future, the backlog of pending cases will be resolved through the revision of the work schedule that is being carried out throughout the country.
There are
630 sectors, and as we said, we are looking for workers. We are on the right track because, as Karongi district, we have completed it and we are on the way. But the other sustainable way is that there is a constant turnover in the sector and we are always dividing it, which is what I was not going to say at the moment. And we are setting a level. It has stable employees with equipment, and working is possible at the sector level so that they carry out other responsibility, and other responsibilities that they have in a permanent manner do not continue to change because one leaves and the new one comes. They can continue with the cases they didn't know about, so this affects the cases most.
Regarding specific cases decided by the Gacaca Court, the Ministry of Local Government state that they have been completed at an average rate of 91%, and the remaining are the ones with pressing issues, but the Ministry continues to work with other local institutions to find a solution. The Southern Province comes first in completing majority of cases left by Gacaca, while the district of Kirehe, Ruhango, and Kigali City are behind in completing these cases. Jessica Gasaro, RwandaTV News.
Noted that it has begun the process of addressing the issue of those who change purposely the number plates of vehicles with the intention of committing crimes and misleading the public. Adam Squizera.
In Gatsata, there is a pile of vehicles with different problems. Some of their plates have been removed. Others have been changed, such as maybe the letter E is slightly removed so that one can see that it's letter F. This is said to have different effects. Mostly, you think it's because the presence of Sophia whenever someone wants to run away or has some kind of trip and wants to run away from it. I think that's what caused it. Or it's a person who is doing other illegal things and is hiding. And I think police should take this serious and follow it up. IP Mngangabgiko Evarist, an employer at Rwanda Forensic Laboratory, noted that the crime of changing the vehicle's profile is also examined using special equipment that reveals the original vehicle's profile. There was 197, and he later noticed that he can generate income from there and said, let's make it 197. If it's 2 years, he added, you understand that he has added something that gives him a lot of value if he goes to the market, and if it was wanted by Interpol, they can't notice it due to that those plates was modified. Rwanda National Police spokesperson CP John Bosco Kabera pointed out that this issue of changing plates is in process of getting addressed.
N'abantu nyine bishora mu byaha bigaragariye aho ubungubu hari izi kamera zo ku mihanda.
These people who are involved in crime, it's evident that when the traffic cameras came along, where you are violating the law and the camera took a picture of you, then people say, let's change the license plate. And the camera will not see where he's sending the message. So you understand that it's creating safety on the road. You will say that I'm driving as I want, and if they stop me, I will show them that what they are saying is not related to what is on my vehicle plate. And you say that they will not even know, even if I commit crime. Then we want them to know that in our responsibility, we have to also make a follow-up carefully and seek more information, and they have to know that. About 500 motorcycles are at the collection site of the vehicles with various problems, where their owners are only accepted to pick them after solving those problems. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
We'll stay on this issue of road safety. Citizens have expressed concern regarding the delay in permanent driver's license tests following the registration, and many say it leads them to using wrong ways when seeking driving permits. However, the Rwanda National Police has pledged to look forward into addressing this particular issue.
Few days ago, Pascal Nkurunziza was given a schedule by the police to sit for a driver's license exam next year in February.
I registered to get a code for category C, but this year has been booked. So they scheduled my exams for next year in February.
His fellows with the same issue are requesting Rwanda National Police to provide a solution as soon as possible.
I would request the police to put yearly codes with short intervals in all districts in a year to make easy to do exam again in case you failed the first one.
Driving teachers also acknowledge this issue and request the police to solve it for good, given it would reduce the number of those seeking driving permits through incorrect ways.
Sometimes you find that about 300 or 400 people have registered and they all meet to sit for the driver's license exam, which leads them to seeking the permits through inappropriate ways.
CP John Kabera, the Rwanda National Police spokesperson, says that Rwanda National Police is increasing the number of staff in this field, and there is ongoing construction of a specified institution that will fasten the process, especially exams of the permanent driver's license.
The police is finding solutions to this issue, and it's our responsibility to solve it. Construction works are ongoing, and we shall increase staff members in this field, but that does not permit people to go against law.
Rwanda National Police also says that the being constructed institution will be of a great benefit to residents, especially in the city of Kigali. Construction works have exceeded 70% for the institution to start operating soon. Shinateta, RTV News.
People owning electric motorcycles have raised claims that having no swapping stations in the suburbs of Kigali and in the provinces is a hindrance to their work. Ghislaine Mugwaneza.
Motorcyclists have said the effectiveness of utilizing electric motorcycles compared to the usual ones.
It's really a good one. Driving it is comfortable. It does not pollute the air. Even a client gets excited when they see it. You can even put on a suit and come to work without a problem. They are really effective because we get more profits, which is better than usual ones, because they are limited to noise pollution. They require much less maintenance and they deliver instant power.
However, there are challenges they are still facing.
I was charging, but I'm done. It takes like 1 hour and 15 minutes to be fully charged, and the swapping station are few. Let's say that if I'm taking someone to Giti Chinyoni and I reach at a certain place and I'm almost running out of battery, I leave them there and come back for charging at the station and waste a lot of time. I can waste like 3 to 4 hours standing waiting for the battery to be fully charged. I could even have issues with the bank if the bike is on credit, yet I couldn't have just because I wasted so much time.
There is a plan to expand the business by building more swapping stations.
nibyo izo mbogamizi abakiriya barazifite kuba badashobora kuva Kigali bakajya muzi.
It's true. The challenges are there. The clients are not able to reach to different destinations, but what we want to do is to make it possible to reach in the provinces and build swapping stations in the south of Kigali city, like Bugesera, Nyamata, and other places. We will build swapping stations that will facilitate their work.
Nyamata abantu bagerwa magana kubaka amasitasiyo ashobora kubafasha kujyayo.
We already have 30 locations which are live, and the customers are the motor taxi riders are using those locations to swap their batteries. So presently, as I said, in Kigali itself, we've got around 50 locations, and soon we will start expanding across the districts of Rwanda as well. The course of the year, we will have the other districts also started, where we will extend our network and also have this facility extended to the motor taxi riders in different parts of Rwanda as well.
Currently, Ampersand Rwanda Limited has sold 1,000 electric motorcycles, while Spyro has sold 175 motorcycles and 100 from Safi Universal Link. Rwanda pledged emissions cut of 38% in its climate action plan by 2030 through rolling out electric vehicles and other strategies. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Thank you, Ghislaine. We'll transition it to a bit regional matters. On Monday in Nigeria, a new oil refinery was officially opened, which is expected to reduce about 40% of the African continent's oil imports.
This refinery was built by the richest man in Nigeria and on the African continent, Aliko Dangote. Through his investment company, Aliko Dangote Group, the industry has the capacity to process 650,000 barrels of oil per day, with a total cost of $19 billion, and it is built on an area of 2,635 hectares. Billionaire Aliko Dangote states that this factory is a solution since it has the capacity to satisfy 100% of the Nigerian petroleum market and distribute to countries in the region across the African continent.
We intend to ensure that our plants are run at the highest capacity utilization and the highest efficiency to enable us to export competitively to other markets, especially in the ECOWAS and the wider region, in which 53 countries out of 55 are dependent on imports to meet their petroleum products demand. This is a clear opportunity for Nigeria, given the African Union's commitment to the creation of an African common market through recently established African Continental Common Market African Continental Free Trade Area. The downstream value chain will equally provide far more absorptive capacity for labor in the hundreds of thousands. Third, once our plant is fully commissioned and it is on stream, we expect that at least 40% of the capacity will be available for export, and this will result in significant foreign exchange earning into the country.
Provisional figures show that this industry will generate an annual revenue of $21 billion for Nigeria. The Nigerian President Muhammad Buhari declares that although this factory belongs to Nigeria, it will benefit the whole of Africa through trade and cooperation between countries of the continent.
To achieve the goals of Agenda 2063, Africa must come together. We must integrate our economies, eliminate barriers to trade, and energize our youthful population to scale up our productive capacity. We must create necessary conditions for our private sector to grow and partner. We must not allow outside powers to use some of our leaders to destabilize our economic and political trajectory.
The industry's homecoming event was attended by other heads of state in the West African region where Nigeria is located, including the President Macky Sall of Senegal, Mohamed Bazoum of Niger, Faure Gnassingbe, and Ghana's Nana Akufo-Addo. The President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, also emphasized that this industry will not only benefit Nigeria.
And when we think of West Africa and Africa before our individual countries, we're not just being Pan-Africanists, we're being true nationalists. Because what makes West Africa, and indeed Africa, better, will make each of our individual countries better and more prosperous. This spectacular project, the Dangote Refinery and Petrochemical Complex, does exactly that, makes West Africa better and stronger.
The construction of Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemical started in 2016 and was completed after almost 8 years with the support of Afreximbank. It is the largest oil refinery on the African continent and is expected to cut about 40% of Africa's oil imports. It has a capacity to process 53 million liters per day, including 34 million liters of gasoline, 10 million liters of diesel, and 2 million liters of jet fuel. The latest figures of 2020 show that Africa imports about 1.7 million tanks every day. Jessica Agasaro, RwandaTV News.
Now, back to the local scene on environmental protection matters. On 22nd May 2023, the Ministry of Environment, together with our public and private sector stakeholders and development partners, held the International Day for Biological Diversity celebration that focused on creating awareness on biodiversity issues. Betty Motoni with the report.
Rwanda's development agenda recognizes the importance and the central role that biodiversity and natural resources play in supporting the country's economy. However, a lot needs to be done in terms of protecting and restoring biodiversity, as it is explained by Dr. Sam Kanyamibwa, the founder and CEO of Albertina Rift Conservation Society.
Biodiversity has been lost because we humans, we are simply selfish or ignorant. We don't realize that humans depend on biodiversity for what we eat, for the air we breathe, for the happiness we get from the landscapes. And this is why, as a country, the government has decided that one of the big agendas for this country is to restore the land and ecosystem for the whole country. It is possible, but always it depends on how we approach it, how we understand it. To understand that humans and biodiversity, we need to live in harmony. We need to live together. Everywhere you are, from your urban house here in Kigali or somewhere on the hill where you live, you can restore biodiversity. You can live with biodiversity. You can enjoy biodiversity.
Kaori Sauda, the country representative of IUCN, noted that citizens have to be sensitized in order to create awareness on how biodiversity can be restored and protected, calling for the collaboration between the Ministry of Environment and other institutions.
In this regards, IUCN stands ready to assist government of Rwanda and other stakeholders in implementing global biodiversity framework. And you know that to make it happen, it's very important to involve all societies. That include local communities and indigenous people. And we need to conserve our planet, at least 30% of our planet by 2030. And our planet should include community conserved areas, not only government-led protected areas, but community-led conserved areas.
The Ministry of Environment says that a lot has been done, including the restoration and construction of Nyandong Park, and more is still in pipeline, For example, the restoration of more than 5 swamps in Kigali that will help in the conservation of our environment.
We have learned more about the importance of biodiversity. We navigated the meaning of global biodiversity framework that we as parties have adopted last December in Montreal, and the actions we must take to implement it. And remember, we are part of biodiversity. We don't own biodiversity. I'm confident that with our collective efforts, we can achieve the goals of the global biodiversity framework and restore our planet's biodiversity. Let us all commit to play our role and our part in protecting the biodiversity. Because when we protect biodiversity, it protects you. I would like to say that biodiversity will outthrive us, the humans, but we cannot survive without it.
On Monday, 22nd May 2023, Rwanda celebrated the World Biodiversity Day under the theme From Agreement to Action, Build Back Biodiversity. Betty Mutoni, RTV News.
And this marks the end of our tonight's edition. On behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team, very many thanks for being with us on this edition. And up until next time, stay safe and have a great week ahead. Goodbye.